Disclaimer. This podcast showcases business partners and friends that engage in lively conversations about books over many drinks. Content may not be suitable for viewers under 21.
This feels very lopsided. That makes me a little stressed.
Why did you turn it on?
Did we test the sound already?
It's recording right now.
Another episode of Books and Booze, where we grab a good book,
get some great booze,
and grab a great buddy to share it with. Are you ready for this?
Don't spill, don't spill, don't spill.
What is this? What did you find for us?
So, can I drink first?
Yeah, let's drink first. Let's try it. This is our first time trying this, guys.
Yeah, not bad. What are we drinking, Kristin? The vodka
Tower,
right?
It is just a vodka-tini, yes.
It is a
vodka martini.
So I found this bottle. It's Tower Vodka at our local, I almost said distillery, our local liquor store. And, you know, one of the things that you and I do when we go into our local liquor store is we go and talk to the manager and say, hey, we're looking for local small craft distilleries where we can go ahead and feature them on our Books and Booze podcast. And the manager was just so nice enough. He said, listen, look for these little tags around the store because all of these are sourced directly from the distillery. And so he had recommended that we pick up Tower Vodka. Now, Kristin does the research.
So Tower Vodka, I was so surprised to find this out, but we have yet another small craft liquor that is represented by Dynasty Spirits. If you remember from the Pumpkin Plan, Dynasty Spirits for Greenhouse Gin. Absolutely. So this is really exciting. Not a lot else about them except the fact that they are very proud that they are 6 times distilled, which would make it very crisp and smooth, which I would agree. Right?
It's actually really good.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah. I can definitely see myself just mixing this with anything, really. We're doing a vodka-tini, so this is just straight?
Vodka shaken with ice.
Yeah.
And then Kev just added a lovely lemon twist for us, but yeah, we didn't even use anything else in it. I know technical martinis will use other things, but we wanted to enjoy the spirit for what it was, especially with the reputation that it had. There were so many great reviews on it. And when something is distilled in, that many times, there's usually a wow factor to it. And I would agree. I think it's quite lovely.
I think so too. And the price point was fantastic. I think right now on special, so this is 2024, so I have to put things in markers in by context, years. Right? Inflation here. So in 2024, the bottle's going for around, I think, $15 or $16, something like that. So not a bad price point at all. Kind of reminiscent of Tito's, to be honest.
Well, it's out of Texas as well.
Yeah.
Now, I did see rumors on there. Nobody would confirm it, and I'm not one to feed a rumor.
Okay.
But something, a spin-off of Tito's, but nothing would confirm that. You know what I mean? So those of you watching, if you have any facts about this, please put in the comments or feel free to email us. We'd love to add corrected information and give credit where credit's due on this beautiful spirit.
Yeah, confirm the conspiracy. Was there a distiller that left Tito's and opened up their own?
Dun, dun, dun. All right, so the book, typically you are the one that picks the books.
Yes.
However, a good friend of ours and a very dear friend, kind of my sister that I chose, Sarah. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
Recommended and has talked for years to me about Brene Brown and just how inspiring she is.
Okay.
And the line of work that Sarah's in, and just Sarah being the person she is, she's often looking for just true inspiration and just a better way to see things, which is one of the things I love about her. And so has talked about Brene, and then being in the corporate world, they're always recommending different books to read for business. And the past few years, Brene has circled within the corporate realm too. Yeah. And I'm just like, okay, well, we've done some really great strategic books the past few episodes, and that's been wonderful. And we kind of launched everything with a little bit more of a mindset. We started with Start With Why, which is truly all about mindset, but really from a strategic perspective.
That is true.
Yes.
Yeah, that is from a strategic.
But then we did Think and Grow Rich, and that was definitely mindset.
Yes.
And then we did Mindset itself, and she, the way Carol wrote that, I think it certainly tied into various business, and I mean, she tied it to school and parenting as well. But, Brene here, the way we're reading, getting into some of this, and I was like really excited to see how I could dissect this for business.
Yeah.
Did you feel the same way?
I did. We have not talked about this book at all purposely.
We wait till we get live on camera.
Yeah, and at one point I was like, why am I reading this? Like, I had that moment, or going, I think through the intro and halfway through the first chapter, I was like, why did Kristin have us read this one? I couldn't really understand, but as the book continued, although the book is not really around business per se, a lot of the things she talks about could be applicable to many facets of your life and business.
Absolutely.
Yeah, career, business. Yeah.
100%. So what I've really taken from this through a business lens is I go back to, I think a few episodes ago, we dissected our different customers, right?
Yeah.
We had named our customers and we gave them a whole story so that we could understand and relate to them better.
Yeah.
Well, I think our Bellas, which our Bellas are those that are ready to possibly divorce their corporate job,
yeah,
right? Or they're wanting to start their own business, and where they're at in their headspace and their heart, I think this book is brilliant for them, because what's the main thing that holds you back from starting your own business? And a lot of times it's, I don't have enough experience, I may fail. Self-doubt, absolutely.
You're doubting yourself and your capabilities, your talents, all of the above.
Everything.
Right? Yeah.
And Brene really digs into how important it is to embrace vulnerability and accept it and realize maybe you are enough, right? So without getting too much more into the book, for those of you who are, maybe did pick this book up or curious if you're going to order it based on what you hear in this, that's really the perspective. Now, we talk about our Michelles, I think once you already have a business and you're struggling in it, that self-doubt creeps back in.
It really does.
Right, especially we as women, because we're supposed to, and Brianna even gets into this, we women are supposed to have it all together.
Well, we're taught that way, when you're, especially for our generation, growing up, make sure you sit upright, cross your legs.
Don't let them see you sweat.
Yeah, girls don't sweat, and
right.
you don't
handle it all.
You don't go out without your makeup, and you make sure you're dressed and presentable and all that. And how are you going to attract a boy if you're not looking your best? And those are all the things stories that you're told growing up. You have to be put together 100%. And as a woman in business, even more.
Yeah, right. You got to look like you have it all together for potential investors, for potential loans, for potential vendors that you want to have be part of your business. You got to look like you have it all together.
Yeah.
And the pressure that we put on ourselves. But I feel like we're almost getting into chapter 2 a little bit here. So let's pull back. And so Brene Brown, she's self-proclaimed, which she's 5th generation Texan.
Yeah, I like how she introduces herself.
Right. She has an incredible work history. She's worked for corporations, and then kind of had her aha moment while working, I think, as a manager or something. I feel like it may be AT&T or something like that.
I don't remember.
She left there, went to school for social work, and climbed all the way for her master's, and then
going to school. She talked a lot about her education.
Yep, absolutely. And her study really went into vulnerability and shame. And everybody told her, don't do it, right? Because I look at how, we talked about generations.
Yeah.
especially our generation, like shame is such a bad word. You know, vulnerability is seen as weakness, which we'll get into. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
So she's really has quite a great history and has a lot of perspective, I think, you know, on this. Female, corporate, small business, everything.
I like, this was the part of the book where I was like, why am I reading this? Yeah, because she's building up, you know, so bear with us, guys. We're going to be talking about vulnerabilities, and ironically, talking about vulnerabilities, reading about it, was uncomfortable. It sat uncomfortable with me, and I actually got bored at one point in time, but I think the boredom was because it
was a defense mechanism.
It really was, yeah. And then once she pushed through that, then it got interesting. So bear with it, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Daring Greatly title, I love this. The backstory of where this title came from was from a speech given by Theodore Roosevelt, President Theodore Roosevelt. Yeah. And it's basically, it's the Citizenship in a Republic speech. Yeah. And he digs into this. I'm not going to quote it exactly, but it basically goes that the credit goes to the man who is actually in the arena, the one who spends himself on a worthy cause, the one who, whether he wins or he loses, if he fails, and I know you don't like the word failure, but this is the quote, if he fails, he fails daring greatly.
Yeah.
So I think that's awesome, because when you look at wanting to start a business, sometimes your first concept isn't the right combination. So it's easy to look at it as a failure. It's easy to. It's not. It's a lesson. And those who become successful have taken those lessons and turned them into pivots that then turned into success. But it's not like somebody sat drinking one day, putting on a napkin, let's do this, okay, and now we're billionaires the next day.
They make those stories look like that, but the reality is there was a lot of blood, sweat, tears, and lessons that went along with making those great accomplishments. And I think we talked about that in Pumpkin Plan and previous books. What you see is surface level. Look at the iceberg. There's a lot of work that happened beneath the surface that no one really sees.
That you don't see, right? Yeah. And I think when you talk to a lot of these successful CEOs and executives, it wasn't their first idea that worked. No. By any means, no. I can't think of really anyone who the very first thing upon a drunken conversation with a friend on a napkin comes into...
And just hits it, right?
Hits it, right? Yeah. It has been, even Sage Consultants has had to been evolution and pivoting and understanding current market and current technology and things like that. Like, it's not just have an idea and launch it. And I think that's where, that's where I read the business alignment to this. You got to get into the arena.
Yep.
You got to...
Let's just take action.
Take action.
Yeah, take action. Don't put too much thought. Don't worry about what others are going to think about you in the middle of you taking action. Just do it. Be vulnerable.
Be vulnerable. Absolutely. So she goes into... She references a lot this wholehearted living. And she has these, what does she call them? 10 guideposts for wholehearted living is what she calls.
It's funny because she was a list, but she's going through it. I was like, this is like the 10 Commandments. That's what it felt like. But anyways, go ahead.
Well, but I could see some of these guideposts, as she calls them, being really influential in business approaches.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, how you deal with people, everywhere,
Everywhere, absolutely. And I think it's fair to address as well that when you own your own business, and I feel like I'm speaking this more from listening to you and being your friend, but when you own your own business, what happens in your business, especially more than when you're in corporate, comes into your personal life.
Oh, yeah.
And what is happening in your personal life comes into your business.
Bleeds into the business. The lines get blurred.
Yes.
Most definitely.
Yes. No matter how much structure you have. And that's not necessarily a wrong thing, especially when your why for the success of your business is to do what you want for your family and for personal, what have you. So those lines are going to blur. But this book really hits on so many things of areas that individuals, men and women, she finally eventually studies men as well and vulnerability and shame. But if we don't have things right mindset-wise in our personal life, it's going to affect our business life.
Yeah.
As much as we don't want it to, you know?
Well, and this is where we're talking about business, but even personally, right? So one of the things that, we speak about with working with people and others who have employees, or in my case, team members, is I always want to check in to make sure the team members are okay.
Almost like a temperature check.
Yeah, personally, because I understand that whatever happening in their personal sphere will bleed over into their work sphere. And the same thing for me. I have to check in with myself because whatever's happening here will bleed into the work sphere. You too, you have to check in with yourself or else it'll bleed over into Sage Consultants. But that is definitely, it doesn't matter whether it's business, whether it's personally with if you're working for someone else, but even friendship-wise too, right? If something's happening personally, it can bleed into friendships. It all gets blurred if something's not right here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I love that she gets into that as we continue through. So here's her guideposts for wholehearted living, but I really see these as guideposts for business too. Cultivating authenticity.
Yeah.
And letting go of what others think. And I think when you're a business owner, especially, while it's important to get your customers' feedback, you also have to let go of what the haters are saying.
Yeah.
Haters
are going to hate.
They are. They're jealous that you're doing something that they don't have the courage to do, maybe.
Maybe.
Right?
Maybe. Or they're unhappy in their personal life and they take it out on you.
So, right. So, and I know that authenticity is really a key component to this incoming generation, especially. So they are not going to support a business that they don't feel is authentic and sincere.
Yeah.
So as you're wanting to launch a business, so authenticity.
Yeah.
The second one, cultivating self-compassion, letting go of perfectionism. I mean, if that's not business, we want it to be perfect.
We want it in the launch too. I think there's so many times that even in Sage where we wanted it a certain way, we wanted it to be perfect for the launch. Just understanding that launching is more important than making sure that everything is completely perfect, right? Because you're going to make tweaks here or there.
It's going to evolve.
It's going to evolve.
Like Mike suggests, once you identify who your top clients are, get feedback from them.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Like Nike, just do it.
Just do it. Right. So, okay. And then number 3, cultivating a resilient spirit, letting go of numbing and powerlessness.
That one was impactful. That was impactful.
I can't think of individuals that I could label as more resilient than people who lead their own something, whether they own their own business or are the leader of a team of people in business. That resiliency is key.
Yeah. Tough skin. All right. That's some tough skin.
Absolutely. Number 4, cultivating power and joy.
Yeah.
I mean, we've read so many books that pull us back to what is your why. And usually when you identify what your why is, it brings joy, typically. Joy, right?
It will. Yeah, because you know your why. That makes you happy. That fuels you. So it'll bring joy back to you.
Yep, absolutely. All right, number 5, cultivating intuition and trusting faith. Let go of the need for certainty.
Let go and let God. I had a moment the other day. I think we spoke about it at my house. This was, I think, for my birthday or something. I mentioned it. I felt like the world was caving in on me. And at one point, I just had to take a step back and say, God, I let go. I surrender. Jesus, take that wheel. And just let it go and have faith that it'll work out.
Yeah.
And it worked.
And it did, right? But also, I think about, her subtitle to that was letting go of the need for certainty. When you launch a business, nothing is certain.
No.
Nothing.
You have to be okay with that.
And
you have to
absolutely.
Be okay with it.
Number 6, cultivating creativity. I mean, talk about innovation and evolving. Like that's...
I like that too. So when she's brought that up, I took it more as cultivating creativity would be never let go of that inner child that always wanted to do something.
Right? Like in Think and Grow Rich, like how a kid asks a million questions and they're so excited when you go on a walk.
Exactly. Always be okay with learning something new. It could be a hobby or it could be a new skill, whatever, but learn something new always.
Learn something new. Absolutely. Number 7, cultivating play and rest.
Yeah. Rest, a lot of rest.
Balance.
I like my naps.
But you have to have balance.
Yeah.
Like when you go to start your own business and when you have your own business, a lot of time, and how many books have we read where the business is running them?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's every single one of them.
And at some point, the author is either helping somebody who is, or they themselves are exhausted, overrun.
Yeah.
And so taking time to cultivate that play and rest. And like you said, hold on to that childlike innocence and joy. Number 8, cultivating calm and stillness.
So elaborate on that one, because for me, play and rest kind of going along with calm and stillness. But I mean, I guess the two could be different.
Well, her subtitle to it is Letting Go of Anxiety as a Lifestyle.
Oh, yeah, when you get used to it. Yeah.
So, and I take this, pretty sure it was Pumpkin Plan, where he referred to somebody who just assumes that stress is a way of life as a business owner.
Yeah, we talked about that. When you it happens so often that you actually just adapt to it and you fit it into, you start thinking it's normal. Yeah, okay, I can see that. Still in calmness.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So just...
Woosah.
And when you take a moment to think and breathe, and like my son was struggling with something the other day, we're like, go outside. He goes, the answer's not outside.
I'm a smart kid. I like how he's quick.
Like, no. An angel's not going to come down from the sky and say, Jackson, do this with your computer. Like, no. But sometimes just clarity of thought. Slow down. Think about options.
Take a breather. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. Cultivating calm and stillness. Number 9, cultivating meaningful work.
Well, I kind of dare say that if you're going into business, you feel like you're doing meaningful work, right?
Or if you want your business to be successful, there needs to be an element of meaning and intention.
Yeah. And it doesn't even have to be, for the longest time in Be Chic, I was like, oh, it's just jewelry, And then when I started diving more into it, I said, wow, it's not just jewelry. It's inspiration for whoever decides to wear my pieces.
It's how they feel when they're in it.
And that's just for the product that's being sold. When I started looking at the business itself and the team members I had, that was also something that it fit both sides. The outwardly, which is the product I'm selling, and then inwardly, which is how the operations and the personnel and the team members that were on board.
I worked for a company, and part of their, I guess, motto or company image was understanding that sometimes what we put on influences how we feel about ourselves. Now, haters are going to say that that's super shallow, but
haters are going to hate.
But it's really not. Think about it. When you put something on and you don't feel, and you're tugging at it, and you don't.
Oh, when you're super uncomfortable, it's in here now.
It's mental.
Yeah,
and it's really easy for us to say, oh, we should accept everybody, but do we actually accept ourselves?
Yeah.
And I mean, we kind of get into that, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
And number 10, cultivating laughter, song, and dance, and letting go of being cool and always in control.
I love that one. I don't know if it was in the first chapter or the second one she mentioned about her middle schooler, but it's so true. When you get in the mindset, I gotta look good. The same thing, like you put something on, you're trying to look all nice and all that, but for me, it's like, make sure it's comfortable, right?
Yep.
In this case, they're like, you gotta look cool. It doesn't matter if it's comfortable because you need to be a cool kid, right?
Right.
But in this case, it's like, forget the cool kid and just have fun with it.
Just have fun with it. Well, I go back to Think and Grow Rich, and she's like, be crazy, right? Like, I think shake your pom-poms and everything, or do a dance, sing in the DMV. Like, there were so many different things just to shake things off.
I have this Facebook friend. Her name is Katie Flyswatter. Hi, Katie. And she put a post on Facebook. It was yesterday, the day before, I forget. And it's just her in a hula hoop. She's just hula hooping, like embracing that inner child and doesn't care. She's in her bathing suit and a hula hoop. She's having a good old time,
I love that.
Yeah, she did number 10. Embracing her, what was it again? I forget. What was number 10?
Number 10 exactly was
laughter.
Cultivating laughter, song, and dance.
Yeah. She was dancing with her hula hoop.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah.
Can't wait to meet her. Okay. So moving into chapter 1, she calls this scarcity, looking inside of the never enough culture.
Yeah.
And she says something about the fact that we move through life feeling that we're never good enough, never perfect enough. And we almost, in this generation especially, we kind of start our days with that. Like, how many times have you woken up and said, and this comes from Brene, I didn't get enough sleep.
That one got me. Or I didn't have a good night's rest because my stomach hurt. Or I didn't.
Or I don't have enough time in the day.
Yeah, you wake up with a list of things that need to be accomplished.
I don't have enough money for this.
Yeah.
Right? We put ourselves in a mindset of scarcity.
Yeah.
And it's coming to a tipping point. Like, you can feel it culturally.
Yeah.
Like, we're over this.
Yeah, we are. We're done with the scarcity mindset. I know I am. We have a limited amount of years. Well, it depends, okay? You either have an abundance amount of years or limited. Depends on half glass or half full.
Depends on how you look at it, right?
But however you want to view it, the time here on earth needs to be cherished. I want to be present. I want to be present. I want to be active, with everything in my surroundings. I don't want to start thinking and comparing myself to someone, what I don't have, what they have, what I need more. So I have a friend, really beautiful lady. Her name's Julia Hare. And one thing she said to me, and it just stuck through all these, through these years, is that, most people focus on things that they don't have, and they love what they want, right? But love what you have,
Yep.
She's like, and want what you have.
Yes.
Be enough, And so when she said that, I was like, Julia.
Isn't it interesting? I find so many parallels in the books we read and the talks we listen to. And even I go back and I listen to some of our modules for, our SAGE clients, especially those launching their own business. And all of us are saying so many of the same thing, but different ways. I mean, you could even take it back. I was listening to one person, and he doesn't say, he refers to the Bible, but not to give a religious speech, but for like a business approach to things. And I'm just like for centuries, we are getting these wisdom nuggets of people who have figured it out.
Yeah.
And yet we still choose to fight it, right?
We do. We really do. It's so funky. Yeah. Another book I read, which is Leading on Empty, was written by
a pastor, right?
Mm-hmm. But it can be used for business, which is...
I'm excited to read that one. You refer to it a lot. Yeah,
I do. Mm-hmm. And but it hits... when we talk about seasons, anyone who's going through their winter in business right now, please read the book Leading on Empty, because it does fill the soul. Even though we're not going to go into it because we're
focusing on this one. Well, so wrapping this up, she talks, there's really 3 components of scarcity, all of which we already hit on. Mm-hmm. She says one of the components of scarcity is shame. We have that fear of ridicule, and belittling. And that is often used to like sheep people or herd people, especially in corporate. Like, oh, you didn't deliver this.
Yeah.
Right.
They shame you into action.
Absolutely.
But you're not getting the same results.
No, absolutely not. And it begins to affect your, like, how you see yourself. I mean, she digs into that. The second component is comparison, which is that, we're always comparing ourselves. And again, this is even done at a business corporate level. I'm not talking down on corporates. There are corporates who are very cognizant and try to fight this stigma, but there are others who don't. Yeah. Right. And this is, I think, where people are like, they're wanting to divorce their corporate job, and do something bigger and better. When I say the future is small business, I mean it, because there's a wave of people that, like she said, we're tired of this.
They're aware.
They're aware, and something's got to change.
Yeah.
And there's a few ways to change things. And then the third is disengagement, right? You're afraid to take risks. You just check out, basically.
Yeah.
And I see that happening so much. And I'm really excited to dig deeper into this.
Yeah, me too. At first I wasn't. I said, oh my goodness.
It was like going to be a long book. Yeah. I was like, I'm not going to like this.
Yeah.
Divorce my customers? What? Never.
In this case, I'm like, vulnerability.
So So I feel like we're off to a really great start with this. And I feel like this is going to be really helpful from the emotional perspective that a lot of people go through when wanting to know if they want to make the decision to launch their own business.
Yeah.
Or they're in the midst of having a business and they need help.
Yeah.
You know, there's going to be two parts, I think, as we read into this.
I do too. And I think even if you don't, let's just say you already have your business, you're already in the midst of this and you're looking and are not I guess watching us. There's going to be parts
watching us struggle in our lemon twist. Sorry.
Try not to eat this at the same time. You can reflect back and say, hey, there's personal things that I can take into account and I can put into practice and, you know, with my family, with my husband, with my coworkers, with my business partners. There's a lot of that coming in this.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
And I like how she kind of wraps up chapter 1, really saying that the counter approach to scarcity is not abundance. And I want to see how she digs into this.
Yeah, I know. I thought it would be. If you're looking at the counter approach, it's not. It's should I share it or no?
Go ahead.
Enough.
Being enough. Yeah.
Being enough.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. So I'm really excited about this book. Sarah, thank you for recommending.
Thank you, Sarah.
Just very exciting. And this, you guys, I feel like these next few podcasts might be a little bit emotional, or it might trigger things. You know, I mean, here we are drinking, having a great time. We enjoy things together, but it, you know, when you read this book, I think be ready for a transformation, and not a business plan transformation, but a personal perspective.
It is. It's a lot of self-reflection. And it might make you look at the ugly sides of yourself, or the stories you told yourself, that
the things you think are ugly, but are actually really beautiful because they have made you the amazing person that you are.
Thank you. As you can see, it was impactful for me. There were certain parts I was reading, I was like, oh boy. Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. It impacted me in a few ways.
Yeah. Well, excited to dig deeper.
Thank you, Sarah.
Yes, thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Renee.
Brene. Yep.
Brene, sorry. Thank you, Brene.
Brene, yeah, we're excited to go on this journey. And thank you, Dynasty Spirits, for Tower Vodka.
Yeah.
Thank you for our listeners and our subscribers. Wink, wink, nod, nod. Y'all, we are trying to grow this channel and really hope that we can make, you know, business fun.
Yes.
And just take you on the journey with us week after week of literature and libations.
Yeah.
So, and business is fun. Sometimes it's emotional.
Yeah, it can be.
And sometimes it's healing.
Yeah.
So, please subscribe, share. Please share. That's what's really going to help.
Yes.
And yeah, so grab a good book.
Get some great booze.
And grab an amazing and inspirational buddy
to share it with.
Cheers. See you guys next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Yeah, you were slow sipping.
I was slow sipping.
Woo-wee. This was a really great vodka.
It is. I want to put some more ice in it, though.
Okay.
I want it colder.
I know. I do like.
I like it. Well, you know, it's Florida spring, which means it's everywhere.
I know. I got home and I was like, oh, we should do our podcast outside. And I stepped outside.
Oh, no, girl. It's hot out there.